Namaste all, I'm Dr. Suparya Subhash and today we are going to discuss about assessment types. So what is assessment meaning? So assessment simply means checking or measuring how well someone understands or performs something. So coming to the education, in education it's used to see how much students have learned or how they are progressing. So let us discuss the types of assessments one by one. Formative assessment. So what is formative assessment? Formative assessment is like a quick checkup while students are learning, and it happens during the lessons to help teachers see how well students understand things. Examples are quizzes or class discussion or just watching how students are doing is comes under formative assessment. So the main goal is to give feedback so the students mm, can get better before the final test. So formative assessment is evaluating the student's performance during the learning process. It's important. It's during the learning process is formative assessment, and it will help to provide feedback for students' improvement. So this is the formative assessment. And next one is summative assessment. And it is take place at the end of a learning. Okay, for example, end of a learning a unit or a course, summative assessment. Okay, it measures what students have learned and it is usually more formal. Examples includes final exams, our BMS final exams or major project, or and the focus is on evaluating overall understanding and achievement, giving a summary of what students know at that point. Okay, it's evaluating the overall understanding and achievement. So summative assessment evaluating a student's performance at the end of a learning period. Okay, that is also very important. At the end of the learning period is the summative assessment. Formative assessment during the learning process and summative assessment at the end of the learning period. Okay, the next one is the periodic assessment. It conducted at regular intervals throughout a course. What does it mean? This assessment actually can be formative or summative and help track students' progress over time. For instance, a midterm exams or chapter tests are periodic assessment. So they help teachers identify trends in learning and they can adjust instruction if needed. So that is the periodic assessment. It's at regular intervals and throughout a course, periodic assessment will be there. Next one is the diagnostic assessment. Happens before instruction begins. Instruction begins. So what that before instruction begins? So let me tell you the examples. It includes pre-test or assessments that determine prior knowledge before starting a new topic. So it will help the teachers to identify strength and weakness of a student. So and it's also allowing teachers to tailor their teaching to meet individual needs. So that is the importance of the diagnostic assessment. It happened before the instruction begins. That's also important. Next, coming to the benchmark assessment. So benchmark assessments are used to measure student progress at specific point in time. It's important. At specific point in time, they are assessing the students' progress. So, and it is often compared to standards or learning goals. I will tell you the example. Our NTT exam, National Teachers Eligibility Test, is an example for benchmark assessment. So it's ensuring that teachers meet the required standard to teach Ayush doctors in our college. So uh, it may help determine if students are on track to meet the learning objectives. Okay, so that is the benchmark assessment. And next, coming to the performance assessment. Performance assessment focuses on students demonstrating their knowledge and skills through practical tasks. Instead of just taking a test, students might conduct experiments, create presentations, or complete projects that shows their understanding in a real world context. That is the performance assessment. So let me ask you some questions. Which assessments help guide learning? Which one? The formative assessment. The formative assessment will be assessing during the learning process. Okay. And assessments evaluate understanding at the end. Which one? At the end, it will be summative assessment. And assessment track progress over time. That is periodic assessments. Okay, which assessments identify needs before instruction? The pre-test will be conducted. Which one? That's the diagnostic assessment. An assessment measure progress against standards or NTT benchmark assessments. An assessment demonstrate skill in practical way. That's the performance assessment. Okay. So thank you for watching.